Hi everybody, thank you so much for clicking and for watching this video. Don't forget to like and to subscribe, and of course leave any thoughts and comments that you might have on the video, because any thoughts, comments and feedback help me when I'm creating future content. So today I'm going to be talking about a film that I really enjoy actually, and it's a film that I think has a cult following, something of a cult following. It was released in 1998 and it was actually a remake of a film from 1989. The original film is what I'd consider to be the first found footage movie. It was a film called The McPherson Tape. It was written, directed and produced by Dean Aliotto, but 9 years later, with a bigger budget, they went on to remake this film, and it was called Alien Abduction, The McPherson Tape Incident at Lake County. I've seen several different names for this film. Some of them just called Alien Abduction, The McPherson Tape, some of them just called Incident at Lake County. So if I've got that wrong, please let me know, because I'm always interested in sort of correcting anything that I've got wrong, and I'm always interested in finding out more facts about movies, particularly this one, because as you can tell, it does have quite the history. Now, this film was released in 1998, and it came out a year before the Blair Witch Project. Now, a lot of people credit, and rightfully so, they credit the Blair Witch Project with being the film that launched the found footage genre. Now, I really enjoyed the Blair Witch Project. I'll be doing a review, not a revideo, maybe that'll be a thing. I'll be doing a review of that film at some point in the future. But today I want to talk about this film, and something that I probably recognise in myself is that I have used the word authenticity in quite a few of these videos. It's a great word, and I think it's really important when you're talking about found footage. Now, a lot of found footage, when it was really popular, I'd say 5 or 6 years ago, when it was sort of, I'd say it was the peak of found footage movies, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that found footage movies they almost looked too clean. You know, the technology was advancing like rapidly, and everything sounded perfect, everything looked great, but it didn't have that level of authenticity that something like the Blair Witch Project has. And even going back to the 1989 film, The McPherson Tape, you know, that did have a level of believability. It had a level of authenticity because it didn't sound great and it didn't look amazing. But if it's found footage, it's not supposed to look perfect because it was just found. It's just found it, and they do a really good job with that in the McPherson Tape Incident at Lake County, the remake, which is of course what I want to talk about today. Now, I think the criticisms of this film are that, yeah, it doesn't sound great and it doesn't look amazing, and it's the acting's not great, but again, that all plays into this idea of it being found footage, and that's something that I think they did a really good job with. Now, whether some of those things that they did in the movie were intentional or not, it just works for me. And I think that's something that, sadly, with the advancements of the internet, you know, with the advancements of the internet, it's very difficult to get people to believe in these kind of films. Now, of course, in recent years, there have been things like The Slender Man, where, you know, people have gone on to be influenced to do things based on this sort of, what I'd consider to be like an urban legend. It was a meme originally, once again. I don't have all the knowledge of Slender Man, but from what I know, you know, people believed it, and I think that was great. But in terms of films, in terms of like, you know, an alien abduction video, or, you know, something like the Blair Witch Project, people now people have access to so much information, the cast, the crew, the production dates, you know, the schedule, you know, the release dates, the you know, the spouse of the director. They have all this information. So already they go into a film, or we go into a film, should I say, we go into a film with this idea that, yeah, it's not real, you know. And I think that's really sad, because something that this film did is it caused huge confusion and huge panic. It was a made-for-TV movie, and people were really concerned about the family. They were believing that it was real, you know, when they were tuning in. And I think that's great. And I think it's this idea, sort of similar to, as I was talking about in a previous video with mockumentaries, is that I'm always interested when people sort of blur the lines between sort of fantasy and reality. And I think that's just why this film is so good as well. I think one of the strengths as well is that this film doesn't have a soundtrack or a score. And I think that means that they're not kind of, they're not sort of forcing you to feel something in the way that some films do with like a film score. You know, there's not like an emotive film score there that heightens your sense of that heightens your sense of danger, or, you know, makes you feel like really sad. You know, you feel something because you see that the family is in danger. And I haven't even talked about what the film's about yet, because there's so much happening with the film, and that's something that really interests me. But the story is, as it says in the title, it's about a family. It's about three brothers who witness a group of extraterrestrials in a field. I always thought that these extraterrestrials were doing some kind of experimentation, but either way, the aliens rumble them, and the three brothers end up back at the house, and the family on Thanksgiving are surrounded by the aliens. Not lots. We don't see the aliens. That's a great thing. But the aliens are basically trying to get into the house and all this kind of stuff. And you know that there's a danger. One of the great things about this film that I really like is that the boy, the teenager, there is an actual reason for him to be documenting everything. There's a reason for him to be holding that camera. In a lot of found footage films, there's no reason for them to continually record everything. There's no real reason. In the Blair Witch Project, they're making a film, and so of course she's going to want to document everything. You know, in Cloverfield, it's an invasion, so there is sort of a reason, but in a lot of found footage films, there's no reason for you to keep carrying that camera. Why do you need it? But in this film, he is recording his family at Thanksgiving, and then something happens, and again he wants to document it, and he believes that, without giving any spoilers away, he believes that this is important. And it's really hard for me to not give any spoilers away, because there's a lot more for me to talk about. I really like the way that the sort of cast approached this film as well. Like the dialogue feels natural, and it does feel like these are sort of just natural conversations that people would have. It doesn't feel like a Hollywood script. So again, and I think this is only the third time I've used this, you can again correct me if I'm wrong, there is that authenticity within the dialogue, within the film, and they do a really good job as well. Everyone involved does a really good job in building this tension and building this level of suspense, and what happens is almost inevitable. And again, and this isn't a spoiler, because of course it is called Alien Abduction, you know, the McPherson Tape incident at Lake County. So usually I don't like that, but I think that's something that intrigues you as well, because it's an alien abduction tape, so that hooks you. And of course, you're then watching what transpires. There are multiple versions of the film. Now, I've seen the one with, I didn't know it was an alternative ending, but there is an alternative ending. And when I first saw it, it's very of its time, but it's strange because I didn't watch this when it came out. It was a made-for-TV movie in America, so I actually saw it on Sky Movies a few years later, when I was really, you know, when you're just at that age where you're just really hammering your film viewing. You just, anything you can watch, you know, you're just getting into it, and you're watching films that you wouldn't necessarily see anywhere else. And I just happened to see it one late night on Sky Movies, and I just thought it was just fantastic, really. And it was several years after the Blair Witch Project, and of course, as I've mentioned earlier, people often credit the Blair Witch Project as being the first found footage movie, but actually this film has its own history, and I do think this film deserves maybe more credit than it deserves, because I've certainly enjoyed it. You can find clips of the film on YouTube, but you can't actually watch the full film on YouTube, which is a shame, really. I've tried to find this film on Amazon Prime. I know that you can purchase the 1989 film directed by Dean Aliotto on Amazon Prime. If it's still available now, and you can buy it from other places on the internet. But yeah, this is definitely a film that I would recommend, particularly if you're a fan of the found footage movie. I know for me personally, and this is my view, that the found footage genre is something that it sort of lost its way after a while, you know, and some people don't like it because, and I went through a phase where I really didn't like it, you know, because it can be very jarring, and if something looks too perfect, it's kind of, well, I don't want the footage to be polished. I don't want the sound to be perfect. You know, I want to feel like, I want to have that immersive experience, and I want to believe that, oh, they did actually find it, you know, even though in the back of your mind, even if you believe in yourself that this isn't real, it doesn't matter. I want to be able to switch off and just go along with the story. And I think that's something that they did a really good job of with this film, is that you can just lose yourself in the situation, lose yourself in what's happening. And I think that's full credit. I think a lot of credit has to go to Dean Aliotto. It was his vision all the way back in 1989. I've watched some of his videos online as well, where he's talked about the film, so you can find those online as well. But yeah, so definitely, if you get a chance, just go out of your way and find it. Just look for some Dean Aliotto videos. The original is actually available on YouTube, but this version, the 1998 version, is not. Unfortunately, as I say, you can find different clips and things like that. But yeah, great, a lot of fun. Really love this movie. Definitely do some research on it as well as I've done. There's so much more I could say, but that's going to give away some spoilers as well, and I don't want to do that. But yeah, as I said before, please leave a like below, subscribe, and leave any thoughts, comments and feedback that you might have on the video, because I'm always interested in talking to people about film, particularly this one, because not that many people seem to have seen it, which is a shame, really, but I think it does have a cult following. Anyway, until next time, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you all soon.